Eyes down for the morning, folks. Bank holiday Monday. The weather is utterly stunning. We've gone back to a hot spell again, but only for possibly today and tomorrow. It's going to rain on Wednesday, and here I am back in the guts of the Westwood, which has a persistent, annoying problem. He starts it up, he toddles off round the field, it cuts for about 15 minutes, and then the engine gradually dies. So 15 minutes and then dies out. Well, what could it be? First thing I've checked is the vent in the fuel tank cap, which is clear. Right, now if that's blocked, it'll gradually create a vacuum inside the tank. Even though there isn't a pump on this type of engine, it'll gradually create a vacuum inside the tank and it'll stop feeding petrol to the carburetor. So I've eliminated that. I've just taken this cowl off here, which is held by a bolt right underneath there, which is a sod to get out and a sod to get in again, but I've done it. There was a little bit of grass caught in there, but not enough in my estimation to make it overheat. So the second thing, or one of the things that can cause it to do this, is the engine overheats, the valve clearances disappear, and the valves start to leak and you start to lose power. Now, I can't remember whether I've ever done the valve clearances on this engine. But it's very crude, and you have to grind a little bit off the end of the valve stem to set them, and usually they're good for the life of the engine. So because there's nothing in here to cause overheating, I'm more or less writing that one off as well. So I'm thinking now that we've eliminated the possibility of overheating, I'm thinking possibly a faulty ignition coil that gets warm and goes open circuit, or at least loses a lot of its power and stops sparking. So how can we test that? Well, the truth is we can't. I have done it before by using a hot air gun and warming the coil up with a multimeter connected to it, and see if it goes open circuit when it gets warm. And I've actually diagnosed quite a few like that, especially in the early days of electronic distributors on cars. My brother-in-law had a car which would do the same thing. It'd go about 25 miles and then stop, and then if you waited 10 minutes it'd start again and off it'd go. And it was a coil in the one of the coils in the pickup mechanism in the distributor that was going open circuit, and we fitted a new one and it was cured. So you can try that, but what I'm going to do, I think, now that I've checked that the cooling system is clear, what I'm going to do is put this back together and get Keith to drive it, and then we'll see if it goes open circuit, see if it's sparking when it stops, see if it stops. If it doesn't stop, all well and good, but if it stops, we'll see if it's sparking when it stops. And if it's not sparking when it stops, we will know that the coil is faulty. That's unless I've got another coil. I'm just going to have a poke around in the polytunnel, in the massive heat in the polytunnel, and see if I've got another coil that we could substitute for that one. So off I go. And there she is, all back together. I cannot think of anything else that would be causing this apart from a faulty coil that's going open circuit after it gets warm. There may have been something blocking the vent in the petrol tank, but wasn't very convincing. So we're going to try it, and when it stops I'm going to whip the plug out and see if it's got a spark. Well folks, the 15 minutes was rather exaggerated. It actually lasted 4 minutes and then cut out. But when it cut out, he brought it back here and I got the plug out and there was a good spark, and we put it back, plug back in, and it started it straight away and it's running again. So we don't know whether it's the coil or not. I was as quick as I could be, but is it the carburetor that's getting hot, vaporising the fuel in the bowl? I don't know. I'm still thinking it might be. It might be that the tappet gap, the valve clearances want setting, and when it gets warm, it's. But looking at the spark plug, the burn on the spark plug was absolutely classic. It was black around the body of the spark plug and light straw on the electrodes, so like perfect burn, you know, literally the perfect burn. So I don't know, we'll have to keep faffing with it until we get it right. And there it goes again, that's it, it's lost power again, that's it, it's quit. Well folks, it's 5 o'clock. It's still very warm. I have not videoed me taking the tappet cover, if you like, if you want to call it that, off, checking the valve clearances, which were okay. In order to do that, you have to take the carburetor off, so I've put some joint paste on the carburetor when I put it back on. I can find nothing wrong with it, so this points to the fact that the only thing that we haven't done anything with is the ignition coil, right? And it's looking like that the next move forward is to get a new ignition coil and swap it over, just do an exchange and see if that cures it. And if not, I'm beginning to get a bit stumped, because I've checked the compression ratio as well, and it's good. The Briggs and Stratton book says put the plug in, spin the flywheel in the direction the engine runs, and it should bounce back as it hits compression. If it bounces back, the compression is good enough. So me looking for a compression pressure in the manual was a bit silly. But anyway, it's got like 60 pounds, and that's easy, and it starts instantly. This is the thing, you tickle the key and it starts, and it runs well for 5 minutes, and then it just starts to miss, and well, not misfire, it just starts to lose power and die. And we can't, just the fuel line is full. Just weird. But there you go, that's life folks. Right, I'm going to sign off today, I think. I'm just about to try and start this and see if it'll go. Good morning folks. Tuesday. Very, very hot after rain early this morning. And all my attempts and blandishments with the Briggs and Stratton failed yesterday. So what I've done is ordered the new coil. After I'd ploughed my way through the massive number of Briggs and Stratton engines and different slight models, I found the model number for the coil, and I've ordered a coil from Amazon for 13 quid. So you can't go wrong at that. Given that if you bought a genuine Briggs and Stratton one, you could pay up to 65 quid for it. So that should be here with any luck tomorrow. And we can try it on and see if that makes a difference. If not, it's looking like it's the carburetor, because it's such a strange fault. It starts instantly, It runs for 5 or 10 minutes and then it just loses power and stops. I'm going to have to work on it. Anyway, I've just been up to the house. I've cleared out the final stuff, my vacuum cleaner, my steps, my ladders and all my other stuff. And I'm now awaiting instructions from my new tenant as to when he's going to move in. So there we go. I found the cable for the lovely little hedge clipper and it works. Afternoon folks, Wednesday, 3 o'clock. What's this, what's this? It's a one-piece flow-jet carburetor for a Briggs & Stratton, which I just found on an engine that I didn't know had a carburetor on it. But unfortunately it hasn't got an ignition coil on it. So that's going to get a clean up, a quick whiz through, and might get swapped onto the Westwood if we can't make any sense of it. So that's another string to our bow. So what have we got here? We've got out all the bits for the all the filthy, greasy, oily bits for the saw, because I'm going to make a start on it. I've had a massive tidy up. I've processed the firewood. I've cleared up the loop and back. Tidy. Firewood, sacks of firewood. Start collecting my firewood up now. And when it's out to about this end, I've got enough for winter. So I've had a good tidy up in here, and it's looking like it was so hot this morning, so hot. And now it's looking stormy and like the predicted rain is on its way. So what I'm going to try and do before it arrives is get these bits outside and clean them off. Give them a clean off, a blast off with the pressure wash, and then I can start to think about reassembling it, getting it back together and getting rid of it. Okay, let's do it. Nice and clean, or at least a lot cleaner. I've got the thick off. I'm going to have to wash them in some solvent as well, just to get the thick black gunge off them. But that'll do for now. Wouldn't you know it, I get outside and it starts raining. Typical, isn't it? Hasn't rained for weeks. I wish it bloody would rain really hard. Then it'd soften the garden up and get the garden done. Right. Back into my lovely clean tidy workshop and onward. And there we are folks. All the large parts, not spotlessly clean, but they've been washed off in the alkali degreaser and then pressure washed off. There's some very, very hard deposits of grease on them, most of which I've scraped off when I've seen it. But as I assemble it, and I'm going to have to assemble it roughly first so that I can actually teach myself how it goes back together, because I had no idea, because I didn't strip it. James stripped it. So I think I'm going to have to move it over the crane as well to get to lift that piece, because that piece is a lump, and that's to go in there, the pivot. But I've got to work out all the gearing underneath first, and also it seems that the motor and everything is bolted through from underneath. So unless there's no way you can get your fingers under there. That's to be looked at as well. So tomorrow I'm going to have a crack at assembling it. I haven't cleaned that vice script yet. That's neither here nor there. I haven't cleaned those bits either. All this. But I'm just going to have a go at assembling it and see if I can fathom it out. It looks pretty simple. It looks pretty simple. Right, home time. See you all tomorrow. Well folks, my legs got wet with the pressure wash, my back got wet because as soon as I started rinsing them up it started pissing down again. But never mind. Oops, left the loop open. It'll dry out. Right, tomorrow. Morning folks, Thursday. Not yet 11 o'clock. I've been here since 9:30 because I've got to go early, unfortunately. Yeah, I've got to go about 3:30, so continued the massive tidy up. Goods out with has now gone into the Luton, and what I'm going to do next is get that saw body over here under the crane on 2 blocks, and so I can get my hand underneath to get the bolts in, and then we're going to have a mock assemble. And I've been looking at this, and it looks to me very much like it's been painted after it's been built, because the chances of me getting it together without damaging paintwork, especially with the weight of that thing, is next to nothing. So if I get it together, I might have a go at just paint it after I've assembled it, before I put the motor on probably, but after I've assembled it. We'll see. First of all, I have to do a mock assemble so I actually know how it goes together, because I have no idea, because I didn't pull it to pieces. Looks pretty obvious though, doesn't it? Let's be on. Right folks, we've got all our pieces laid out. Pretty much obvious, these 2 bits are the vice jaws. There appears to be a large thread like that missing, but I'll reserve judgment on that until I start putting it together. The first thing I'm going to do is put the vice together, which means I'm going to clean off those 2 sliders and smear some oil on them. So I'm going to have a clean up and start slapping it together. That pulley obviously goes on there. That's on the big pivot, but I'm not sure whether that's. We're gonna have to see, aren't we? We're gonna have to struggle. Right. There we are. Anyway, it's up on blocks. I can go underneath it. Well, folks, we're getting there. I've put the vice on the wrong way around. This is actually a fixed jaw, and this is the moving jaw, so I need to take the thread out of there and put the thread in there, but that's by the by. I also need to find a bolt to steady that, because that looks like it's missing. I've got the lift mechanism sussed out. I've got that pin fixed in there, the pulley goes on the pin, there's a cam, that cam there goes on the pulley, and the fork goes on there, and that is actually a piston. That, I think, can you see that lift in that? I've got to strip this unit down yet, but as you can see, it's working. It's working. So it's actually gone together quite simply. But it's 2:45 and it's time. I was packing in, even though I don't want to, because I'm going to have to clean that. I can't assemble that because it needs all cleaning up and checking inside. Otherwise I'm going to make a rod for my own back, can't I? And end up stripping it down when it's on the machine. The thing is, you can't take this off without taking the flywheel off. You can't take the flywheel off easily with the top on. So it's obvious how it goes together. So what else have I got done? Oh, I've got this mechanism, which is just a vice stop, just a length stop, but it was all seized up and I've got it all cleaned off and freed off. So it's going to be a good machine. It's going to be a bloody good machine. Right, I think that's going to be it for today. More's the pity, because I'm really enjoying this. It makes a huge difference from painting walls and varnishing windowsills and stuff. But that's it, and I'll see you all tomorrow. And tomorrow we should be able to get it together. I'm sure we should be able to get it together. The difficult bit, of course, is the fact that that is a machine lift. I can't lift that into position, that's going to have to be suspended on the crane and lowered into position, which means I'm going to have to suss out all the pivots first. It looks like that's the pivot pin. That little pivot pin there is the pin for the small end, if you want to call it the small end. But as I say, it's all coming together. I've already said that I'm going, haven't I? And I really don't want to go, but there you go. One of the easiest ways to do jobs like this, where you don't know how it goes back together, is to wash everything, clean it all up, and then lay out all your parts on something that, you know, and put all the like parts together, and it soon starts to make sense. But there you go. Right, I am going to have to go. See you all there. Bye now. Good morning, folks. Friday, and I'm into the hydraulic unit, which is full of grotty milky oil. And also, when I took this off, this is loose. Both screws are still there. The washer's got bent, and it wasn't screwed on, so that's the first repair to do. So I'm going to get stuck into it, strip it down, clean this out, and believe it or not, I have some ISO 220 oil, which is what goes in it. But looking in this, it looks pretty grotty at the moment, so we're going to have a good clean out. So I'll crack on with that, and I'll bring you back when I've got it all in bits. Isn't the internet wonderful? A service manual. Fabulous. Of course I'm going to get black finger marks all over it. Right, folks. Here is a little non-return valve which goes down that little hole just there. Right, I've taken it out, cleaned all the filth out of it, I've put some Hermetite sealer on it, and I'm just about to screw it back in. But I've now got the all the filth out of this, and I actually did it with solvent and then pressure washed it, and then I've blown all through all the passageways. Quite a complicated piece of kit. Quite complicated. So there we go. So let's hope that when this goes back together, the hydraulics work, because they didn't work before, and of course with that in it I'm not at all surprised. There you go. Right, let's crack on. There is a problem, folks. As you can see from this close-up, the threads on the screws that hold this plate on here are damaged. Luckily the threads in the casting are fine, but they're jiggered and they won't pull up, and they're number 4 UNC. I presume they'd be BA, but they're not. They're number 4 UNC. So I've either got to find some or re-tap. And the trouble is, it's about 5 BA. 4's too big and 6 is too small, and I haven't got 5 BAs. I've only got this is an even set, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there you go. So it's searched for some screws to hold that seal up to there. Let's be on with it. Right, folks, well, I quickly realised that I have no number 4 UNC screws. They are available. Nearly 10 quid for a pack of 25, but there you go. But I've got away with it because I pinched 2 screws out of here, which fit there perfectly, because they're right at the end. They only use the very end of the thread, and I've put the 2 damaged ones in here, which have pulled up tight and are fine, because here there's plenty of thread, whereas there it's pulling through a rather thick rubber seal. What's happened here is that there is, in that hole there is a stop, and the stop has been screwed in far too far and has pushed this plate down and damaged it. So I have to make sure that when I've straightened the stop out, because it's bent, that I lock nut it so that it doesn't get down there and do that again. But we've got away with it. Jobbed. And there it is, folks. Reassembled. And ready to refit, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Refit that, refit the pulley, connect it up, and move forward with the reassembly. Because I think now that this is sorted out, I'm just going to put some oil in it. But now it's sorted out, it should be a straightforward assembly job. This is the most complicated piece of the machine anyway. All the rest is pulleys and V-belts. Problems. So, in the box was this. And I thought, I don't recognise that, what the hell's that off? I've just found out what it's off. It goes there. This is the cover for the oil reservoir. Right, there's wicks, 2 wicks in there that go to these 2 oilers there, and that is the cover for the reservoir, which has had a cork gasket on it, as I can see from the bits of cork still stuck to it. Unfortunately, all the screws bar 1 are missing, and the one that there is there is knackered. So there you go. So it looks like I'll be ordering those screws after all. So I've started to have a look at this. Started to clean up the bow and the overarm, I suppose you'd call it. And first thing I found out is one of the Allen screw. You see the Allen screw there with the lock nut on it. They're the jib adjusters. Well, one of the jib adjusters. They should bear in. They bear there onto there. One of the jib adjusters was sheared off, but it was an easy out because it was just a tap with the centre punch and it came out. Unfortunately, I haven't got one of those either. UNC. I'm pretty sure I haven't got much in UNC. I might have an ordinary cap screw that'll do it. But I'm just going to clean this up, brighten all this lot up, put it back together, clean that up, and then we can probably assemble it. The only thing stopping me assembling it, of course, is the missing screws out of there. So I'll get it cleaned up and we'll see how we go. I've surprised myself. I did have some. Look at those. UNC Allen grub screws. Cracking. Right, that's that made. So that's that fixed. The only thing we're stuffed for now is the little UNC bolts. Those there now, they're too big. They're very small, and I've got very little UNC stuff apart from Allen screws. No, I'll have to think about it and see what I can come up with. Well, that's looking better. I've got the cylinder on, and I've got the flywheel on, and the connecting rod, if you like, and I've got the under pulley on because they were straightforward. The doors are closed because it's pouring with rain outside. What else have I got done? I cannot find any screws. I'm going to have to order some for that because I need about 10. That's a nuisance. I've got smartened the bow up a bit. I'm going to give it all a coat of green hammerite, but I think I'm going to do it after it's together, because to paint it apart and then put it together looks like a no-no. What else to tell you? Oh, got this bit. I've been brightening stuff up and cleaning stuff up and, generally speaking, making it decent again. Is that it? big tin of green hammerite. Oh God, it's hammering down out there now. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was. So, that's it for this week, folks. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. Send more. And I'll see you all again next week, when hopefully I'll have some number 4 by 3/8 UNC screws. And we can finish putting it together. Oh God, the bench is a mess again. See y'all later.